Rival and Excel out of the way. Now we're on to a big boy match here. We're going to be taking on Allegiance, playing for that first seed spot. And we've got a new guest on the desk, someone who switched over to jungle for the fall split and played phenomenally, Jelly.
How's it going, Adonis?
It's going pretty good. That was my question to you. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. We're a little scared for Soar because our games really matter today, but yeah, we're having a good time. We're happy about the games against Rival.
How did you feel coming into this lane? Because obviously it was your first time as a jungler on LAN up against this type of competition.
I was a little less confident because with support, I just plug and chug kind of. I mean, I've been playing it for a year. So this lane, I was a little less confident because I've been playing jungle for only 3 months, and it's a lot more stressful, I've learned, playing jungle than it is support. And I thought we were going to 2-0 Rival. The 1-1, we'll take it. But yeah, other than that, we've been feeling pretty good about it.
You've been playing, honestly, really, really well.
Thank you.
So, I mean, much deserved praise for you. Heading into this match, though, Allegiance versus Aware, what are your initial thoughts on this one?
They've been our scrim partners for the past 2 weeks because they've been in the different groups.
Allegiance?
So we know, and Aware, actually.
Okay.
We've been switching off with both. So we know them backwards and forwards, basically. So I think Allegiance is definitely better than Aware, but Aware tells us that they do well in scrims against Allegiance when we're not playing them. So we'll have to see how it turns out. I don't know. I know Kenshin and CaMeRxN are super confident, but I also know that Wolves and Trans, while they don't talk as much, they're also very confident. So
and there's actually been a little bit of back and forth, I hear, between CaMeRxN and Transonics. Both feel very confident in their own play.
Yeah, you told me that Trans bet his 3DS that he wouldn't get soloed.
Yeah, Myth told me that Trans will give away his 3DS if he gets soloed by CaMeRxN.
And in either of these games at any point.
We got a lot riding on this. That's how confident he is.
I mean that alone might dictate a play style that you don't normally see out of both of them too.
CaMeRxN's gonna go hard. I mean, you know he's gonna play gods like on her. He might play Jingwei. He's gonna jump. He's gonna go as hard as he possibly can. I don't know if it's gonna pay out for him. I feel like he's gonna maybe over-aggress and get easy ganks, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, has CaMeRxN put anything on the line as well? Because I mean, if Trans is doing it, you got to do it too, right?
I don't know. I don't know if he put anything on the line, but he's been the one that kind of initiated this, at least from my understanding. It was a lot of, this is, he tweets out a picture of Trans. This is going to be his face after he realizes I'm the best ADC on the box. A lot of that kind of stuff. And
honestly, I mean, CaMeRxN's newer to the this high level of play too, but Trans has been doing it for a long time, and I think Trans is staring down CaMeRxN right now.
He's eyeing him up. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's right. Transonics, I think, is ready for this match here, and honestly, Transonics, he's been playing at a high level for a while. He is kind of on he's kind of his own entity, but he's trying to make it all the way to hi-rez Expo.
Transonics is a beast. Last lane he went off, he basically carried them, in my opinion, in the last game 5 with Koiz. Hands down, he's a god. Transonics is probably the best mechanical ADC, so we always have to be careful with him on the magical ADCs, the Chronos, the Freya.
I think Trans is the most consistent ADC. I think he's probably the best. He just plays the laning phase really well. He plays team fights well. He's one of the few ADCs that can get into the back line, kill a few people and get out.
He's got a lot of hype around him as well. I think probably the best known hunter in NA from an EU perspective. Good mechanics. Sometimes goes a little bit ham, goes a bit deep, gets punished for it, but sometimes that's what he needs to do.
Transonics, silent but deadly for sure. He'll be quiet, but he'll turn up out of nowhere.
Transonics, dude, he's good at the game, but he doesn't play it at all, and it makes me so mad because I want to be the guy who doesn't play the game and is good at it, but he's just over here chilling, shining on the Xbox. He's such a pain to lane against. Sometimes he thinks he's too good though. He'll just walk up to us and we'll just dominate him. Then he gets angry and dominates us game 2. I don't know. It's a back and forth. Out of game, he's probably the quietest person I've ever seen, but every time he opens his mouth, it's the funniest thing ever. Anytime, it's just like a one-liner. He'll say anything and I'll just die laughing.
We're really close. We're literally best friends. And even though I'm really bad at support, he'll help me, he'll tell me what to do. And I think our synergy is just nuts. I actually think we're one of the best duos in the game.
Trans is the best ADC on Xbox.
There it is.
Honestly, 2 important things I took. 3. First, music was awesome for that one.
Oh yeah.
Two, Kenshin actually giving him a lot of respect. You know, this is going to be the person he's facing off against, Kenshin, the support for Aware. And then third, Mytheria gave him respect, and that is not easy to earn. He's almost in every single one of these videos because he is hilarious, but he's normally trash talking someone. He knows Transonics is legit.
He talks better about Transonics than he talks about you, Jelly.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's crazy. You know, what Myth says is very important, because the thing is, if you've been following what Trans has been doing in the past 2 or 3 weeks, he's been playing COD. He's been obsessed with Most Wanted, or not Most Wanted, Modern Warfare
of course,
Remastered.
Of course.
He's been playing it so much. I mean, I don't really even think it matters. He knows he's a mechanical beast on Smite. I mean, he doesn't really even need to do much more than he already does. He's like every ADC diamond. So
his God pool, you can't ban him out. It's literally impossible to ban out Transonics. And even talking to a lot of the PC guys who pay attention to the SEL, Transonics is a guy that stands out to them.
He does.
I mean, his positioning, like was mentioned in the video, can be a little bit too aggressive at times. He likes to play almost like an assassin. But this dude is just nuts for a guy who only picked up Smite whenever it came to console.
I was about to say, he's a native, and it's hard to be at that level, you know, in the scene when you started, you know, what, a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, and for him to just be so dominant in that hunter position, it bodes well for him. I mean, heading into this matchup, though, there are a lot more factors than just the hunters, although I think this will be probably the most exciting aspect of this game is going to be that hunter v hunter. Talk to me, you know, a little bit about the rest of ALG, kind of around that core of Allegiance, because we talked about how Transonics and Wolves were kind of these highlight players, right? They're the ones that Allegiance sets up for. Not really the case anymore.
I mean, whenever I was a player and playing up against that roster, it was, you know, we can do it in the 3v3, we're usually fine. Up against Koiz, Cyno, and Clow, it's the side lanes that become problems. It's Transonics and Wolves with the carries, but so far this weekend, it's been XCynoSure has been the standout player for me. I mean, Ao Kwong day one went off entirely on that character. Then yesterday he pulls out the Naja and his top damage. I mean, Cyno's really stepped up his game.
Like me and Agra were talking about it, we used to just be able to ban Cyno out. You could just ban Thor and Naja, and he actually didn't play anything else for about a month there. But now he's started to get Ao Kwong in his God pool. He's starting to get Hunbots. He plays Hunbots a lot now, too, in some of our scrims. So yeah, he's a lot more scary. Their core has started to, or not started to. I think they're really there. They're together now. Clow and Cyno are always on the same page, and it's not like Wolves and Trans are getting worse. They're still scary coming out of the side lane. So yeah.
It's a much more balanced team. That's the way I would put it. Matt Koiz, you know, he's got his God pool. You know he's going to be playing the Athenas, the Bacchus, things like that. You know Cloud's going to be on the Zeus, on the Vulcan, but their core 3 is much stronger than it used to be, and it's just augmenting that strength they already had in their side lanes.
And you know, XCynoSure is a criminally actually underrated player. I mean, this guy played with Enemy at last season's Worlds. Not a lot of people remember that. I mean, he has been in and out for quite some time.
I think you're thinking of Adjust.
I am.
Yeah,
I realized that as I said it. I'm like, wait, no, that's Adjust, not XCynoSure. Excuse me.
They actually did play Adjust for. They did. Most Wanted. This team played with Adjust for a while, so I don't blame you on that.
I realized it as I was saying. I'm like, no, that's Adjust. What are you doing?
Cyno's better than Adjust, though. I mean, I will give you that. They did not have any success with Adjust, and they brought Cyno on, and it's just they've gotten a lot better because of it.
I agree. I mean, I remember that transition. You know, Adjust, this big name, played. You know, finished second at Worlds.
Okay, I got it wrong. We could start. We could drop it.
I'm helping you out here because, like, so Adjust comes in and it's like, okay, this team's going to be really scary. And then Adjust, for whatever reason, just did not translate well. I don't know if it was the team, if it was just the controller itself. It just didn't happen. And then they pick up XCynoSure and you're like, okay, well, Adjust is this big name. XCynoSure has been around, you know his name, but it's not the same, like, oh, this guy was at Worlds. But Cyno immediately just brought a whole different dynamic to that team and was very, it just synergized so much better.
His communication is just so much better. You can't have, Adjust didn't talk. You can't have 3 people on your team that don't talk. You can't have Trans, Wolves, and your jungler not talk. So now that they have Cyno who actually talks to his mid laner.
I think the most important thing is you can't have Clow be the only one to talk.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, when he talks, you know when he talks. He's going to be screaming.
Yeah, he's going to, dude, if Trans does solo Cameron, it's going to be Clow being the one, like,
he's going to
listen up, Cameron. Like,
he will call him out. First name, last name, everything.
Funny enough, right? Clow is pop-off man for Allegiance. He's always screaming at the other team. And he's like giving away their strats. He's like, we're doing fire, giant idiots! And he's actually, they don't even have it secured. He's just screaming, right? I'm waiting for someone to snipe it away from him. He knows it too. But, I mean, honestly, you know, Clow has improved as well. There was, I think, a lot of issues with him when it came to positioning earlier on in the year. He still gets out of line a little bit, but because he has that always it feels like he has more consistent follow-up to where even if he goes and even if he's at least a little bit out of position, xCynosurex and Koiz are right there and ready to either get him out or honestly set up for a counter initiation.
That's Allegiance's game plan, is just just kill Clow, guys. Just everyone. Clow will be out of position. You're like, Clow's a free kill right now. And then Trans loops around the back. Wolves bird bombs you over the wall. And you're like, what even just happened? There's no way to know what's happening. That's my face whenever you think Clow's a free kill and then his whole team is there with him.
That's like one of the main problems I have against them in jungle is like Clow's raw, he's by himself, and then Wolves and Trans come out, and it's like, he's not by himself. He's never by himself.
I don't. He may not even know it, but the other team's always aware of where Clow's positioned at. On the other side, though, for Aware, we've done a lot of talking about ALG, but again, I mean, this team came out of the Challengers Cup after the summer. This is a team that, you know, people weren't thinking, yeah, okay, they take a couple games. They came out on fire. I believe they 2-0'd you guys.
I think they may have. I don't know. Layers, I mean, he's been playing well for the entire split. It was kind of unfortunate. His behavior just sort of took him out for a couple of games there, but Kenshin gave him another chance, and I think it was the right decision, honestly. He's been playing very well for a new jungler.
Yeah, I mean, Layers of Death, now known as KhaoticPurpose, he has renamed because everyone's got to be mean and rename right before land for some reason.
It's a totally different person. Like, Layers is the guy who had the issue, the attitude issues.
I think that's why he changed it.
There you go.
Good dude.
Yeah.
Layers of Death and then KhaoticPurpose. It's still kind of that same genre of name,
Little
though.
bit,
I don't know.
Little edgelordy.
Seemed to be a different person, though. I mean, he was even tweeting out like he was thanking his team for giving him a second chance as well. I mean, and that's the thing too, is that a lot of people, you know, when you don't have someone face to face or when it's a new person coming into a team, sometimes there are those internal conflicts where you don't get along. But once you come to LAN, once you see people face to face, like you do see these players open up. I think another good example is Shaliber and Chapo, and why Soar's doing so well is they were butting heads online. Come to LAN, everything's good, and I think that's the same for KhaoticPurpose and the rest of Aware.
Yeah, I think the main thing was Layers and Kenshin. Kenshin wanted to take everything as serious as he possibly could, and Layers was the complete opposite. So once Layers sort of said, like, I will take it seriously, believe me, trust me, I'm gonna play well, Kenshin gave him another chance, and I think it's paid off.
I mean, you heard in Myth's interview that Kenshin is like the most try-hard guy to ever touch the game.
Sometimes I hate playing against him.
Scrims, you know, you're queuing casual arenas, it doesn't matter. My man is like shot calling throughout the arena. You're queuing assault. He's like, yo, our team comp sucks. You have to trade your god. Like, this is not the right draft.
We can't have aggro on anyone but a mage. Like, gotta switch this up. But I mean, Kenshin has been in the scene for a while, and honestly, it's that drive that I think has put him in the position now where he has. I mean, he's qualified 4 Worlds. You know, a top 4 team on the console across both North America and Europe, and he didn't used to be as good as he is now, right? Back in MLG, like, Kenshin was kind of just that support player who did his job on a low-tier team.
Well, Kenshin's been around since the very beginning. In fact, he was on the first iteration of Eager, and Jelly replaced him.
I replaced Kenshin for Eager. That's why I'm on Eager now.
Yeah,
he remembers.
$500, bang! There it is.
There you go. You're done. You're done, Kenshin.
But yeah, I mean, so he's on Epsilon. You know, you're right. That was a team that had potential, but just never quite got to where it wanted to be. But now, I mean, coming out of the Challenger Cup, I know that he was upset that he wasn't on a team near the beginning of Season 3. He felt like he deserved to be there, and with the way he's played this split, you can't really argue with him.
And I love Dude talking about like these interpersonal relationships and, you know, the way people are and how that influences your team as a whole. There's, you know, very notable, strong personalities on, you know, your former team Soar with Chapo.
Really? Are you sure?
It's hard to get that bridge and, you know, make sure everyone's unified. But going between this, you know, KhaoticPurpose, you know, Kenshin thing, it's like, you know, Kenshin wants to try. He wanted to be in the position he is in now. And like you said, KhaoticPurpose is kind of like floating around, like carefree. But I think KhaoticPurpose, I mean, maybe he saw the drive that Kenshin had, and clearly it's paid off now.
I mean, he lucked out. Let's be real. I mean, I know I was talking to KhaoticPurpose whenever that whole thing was going on. I was like, look, dude, you got to chill. Like, he's young. You can tell just by the way he talks and handles himself that he doesn't quite have that experience. Yeah. I mean, you're young, though, but you're like kind of the opposite. How is it difficult sometimes for you? Like, you were the voice of reason when we listened to comms yesterday.
Yeah, it's sort of been, when I'm at home, like, I don't know, Myth was right. I'm the rager. I'm the one that throws stuff around in my rooms when I get my speed buff stolen. Right. So it's like, I mean, it transfers at land. You guys see one side of me, and they see the other side.
I think it's junglers, right?
It is junglers.
We've got Jelly's the rager, Chapo's a rager, Adapting. I don't know if you guys have seen the Reddit threads lately. He's a pretty big rager, too. Picks and bans going real fast, though. I think these teams came prepared. Raw Terra banned by Allegiance, looking for that healing. And on the other side, taking away Cyno's Outquang and obviously that Odin pick.
Yeah, Odin from Wolves, you don't want to let him have it. Allegiance gets that like very important Zeus. This is the god that both Clow and Boronic love. With Raw taken away, Boronic's going to play a new god today.
Wow, I mean, this is going real fast, and they're going to pair that Zeus with the Nemesis and Athena. Not the traditional jungler that you like to see that's able to support and peel for a Zeus, but a whole lot of damage in that combo.
I'm not sure about these bans. It looks like they're trying to ban out Wolves, which we on Ullr we don't do that because you really can't ban them out. So I get the Ymir ban because they have Nemesis and they don't want to play the Ymir anyway. The Odin ban is like, I mean, it makes it so that they don't have the Odin Zeus. They make more sense. It's just, I mean, they have their core, but I don't know. I'd rather be banning out Trans than Wolves.
I talked about it whenever I was casting the SEL Summer Finals. That's Wolves is going to do Wolves stuff no matter what god you give him.
He brought out Loki and won a game.
Yeah, he's going to do whatever. And that's something that Eager in particular was the first team to really do, and that's just ignore Wolves. Like, let him take your buffs on the right. We'll take your buffs on the left. We'll just trade it out. You don't want to be around him. He's that much of a playmaker.
Yeah, you have to be able to set up for Gold Fury because Cyno and Wolves are going to go for your speed every time. So you have to be able to be in the left side and take red and take Gold Fury.
Okay. Hobwall going to be locked in, and immediately Loki highlighted, and Loki has a really good matchup against Hebo. I mean, a lot of times it comes down to, does Hebo have the damage? Can he hit his 3 before Loki jumps on him? Sure, you can kill him, but that's such a dynamic kind of combo there.
Yeah, if Wolves locks this in, Boronic, I'm not surprised to see Boronic pick up this Hobwa. This is the other god that he really made a name for himself on, along with Zeus during the online stages. And Aware is a very one-track team. They are very predictable in their picks and bans. They play the same gods basically most of the time. So it's no surprise to see him lock in Hobwa. It's going to be the Tyr instead of the Loki, and Tyr is almost as scary. I mean, Wolves plays this god very well.
I really would have liked to see the Loki because they have the Nem ult into a Loki ult, and you're insta-dead. The Sylvanus. I think that's sort of aimed towards the Nemesis, so you can knock up, get him out of the shield. Also, it's good against Tyr because he's got that CC, so it doesn't interfere with his passive. Yeah, I like the Sylvanus. You know, Sylvanus is probably still my favorite god, so I like that they're playing that.
To round out the lineups here, ALG, Aware, who do you have in game 1, Jelly?
Allegiance, just because I think they're a better team.
I'd agree with that. They got a ton of comfort picks here.
I agree. I'm a big fan of ALG. A lot of comfort here, and just overall a better team. But we do have casters to bring you the game. It's going to be Tom and Tolly standing by.
Team Allegiance versus Team Aware, or rather Aware Gaming. Thanks a lot of Adonis for the toss over, by the way. This one should be exciting. The guys on the desk seem to think that Allegiance are the better team. I can't really find myself arguing against that, but Aware Gaming, they've got some tricks up their sleeves.
Aware coming from the Challengers Cup, definitely showing what they're capable of, being very dominant in the online phase and looking very strong this weekend. The former SCL Summer winners, Team Allegiance, formerly known as Most Wanted, have been doing a good job this weekend as well, so this matchup should have a lot of fireworks.
Yeah, I'm looking at the other side for Aware. You've got Hobwa coming out next to the Sylvanus, two of these eclectic picks that we don't normally get to see a lot of. Hobwa going to be in the mid lane, which is interesting. Hobwa's really big issue is the fact that he's just not relatively safe. One of the things that I really liked about Boronic's play so far this weekend was how safe his positioning was. How is that going to translate onto a god like this?
Well, at this point, when he's being paired up with KhaoticPurpose playing the Fenrir, he doesn't have to worry about being safe if KhaoticPurpose is the one that's absorbing everything that's being thrown their way, right? So you have so much damage between this Fenrir-Hobwa combination coming out of Aware. I'm really curious to see if it's going to translate successfully for them at the beginning of the game.
I mean, that's certainly the idea, is this early game dominance, and you can see both of the mid laners are actually a little bit afraid of their cross junglers, so we're going to see the helmet start. Nice little hybrid item there, providing a little bit of defense. And then across the way, you know, pretty much just normal starts. One thing I do want to bring up is the fact that Team Allegiance, they have 2 Wraths, one on the support, which is not always how it goes.
sometimes you'll only see one Wrath in the team just to be able to control the objectives, but if that Wrath is going to be on your soul laner, it's going to be a long time for him to get to the Gold Fury area of the map. So this is why we will see the supports sometimes picking up the Wrath just to be able to control that early objective. But look at this. Koiz is looking for this red buff nade.
Yeah, this is the Sun Touch special. I like to give Sun Touch a lot of credit for this. Just coming over here and just waddling over and getting the easy steal because you have that Wrath available. Matt Koiz is not going to go for it, though. Wants to wait just a little bit longer.
It makes sense because, honestly, even if he delays the red buff from being taken at this point in time, he's done his job because now Clow with the red buff, this puts Allegiance in a position where when the next time it respawns for Allegiance at the 3-minute mark, they'll have the red buff to be able to invade Aware's buff.
We'll see how that one develops right there. Like you said, Clow has the red buff and Boronic on that Habwa really doesn't. And, you know, clearing the lane is troublesome for Habwa in the early game. One, his main wave clear, which is going to be Water Cannon, doesn't actually hit the back minions unless you group them up. That's problematic, and it's just he winds up exerting a lot of mana.
And as a result of the red buff onto Cloud, now he was able to clear the mid wave first, get the left side mid harpies by himself, and now the rest of his team already got the Fire Giant Elemental shifting to the right side mid harpies, doing a good job getting a little bit of a goal lead, already 500 without any kills.
Yeah, all of that just because it took a little bit longer for Habwa to go ahead and pick up the red buff, and Allegiance were able to find everything else on the map. So very early on, Allegiance are already off to a nice little start thanks to some smooth moves coming out from their support, Matt Koiz.
And on top of this, it's also an experience lead. So there's going to be a gap between Clow and Boronic. But as a result, Koiz, though, is a little bit behind Kenshin, not being able to share the experience of his own red buff. That's with a trade-off.
Exactly. Like we said, he was level 1, didn't exactly get the enemy red buff, so he just kind of waddled in and waddled out, and there wasn't anything Matt Koiz could actually do. But that's the life of a support, right? You kind of put yourself down to allow your team to go ahead and excel further.
It's for the greater good, honestly. That's what you have to do as a support. Sometimes you'll want to sacrifice yourself to make sure your carry will survive. Sometimes you'll sacrifice a little bit of experience so that your carries will get to level 5 first. And as a result now, Matt Koiz is doing a good job being very selfless.
All right, now Transonics is going to hit level 4, so he'll match the Aware dual lane. Matt Koiz just going to hit that mark as well. Wolves here on the tier versus the Erlang Shen. We know that Erlang is definitely the lane bully of the moment. He likes to play aggressive. How does this matchup go, tier versus the Erlang?
It's very crucial for DoctorL to be looking for these pins during the fearless combination from Wolves, and I like what he's done right there. He turtled through Wolves just to pull aggro for the whole wave, to be able to use that javelin pin to clear it very effectively, as well as also being able to splash in hand with that 3rd and 4th swing.
Exactly. That's one of the big things about Erlang is the fact that he gets splash damage on his 3rd and 4th, like you said. And here, DoctorL is really the shining player for me for Aware over this weekend. Like we said, Kenshin is the longtime veteran player. Everybody else sort of filling in and filing into the ranks. Boronic has been out of control, but DoctorL has been the consistent player for me here in the solo lane. And Wolves just doesn't seem to care.
No, not at all. He's trying to find the kill before the sustain comes up. Just a little bit not in time, but the Nemesis ulti with Athena should allow first blood going into the way of xCynosurex.
Yeah, xCynosurex shows up on the side and is able to confirm the kill. Also, Matt Koiz along for the ride as well. So first blood goes the way of Team Allegiance, up 500 gold, give or take. Actually, plus about 300 in all honesty. So 800 in total.
And now taking away the speed buff, transitioning now into the blue. This is a great way to get your solo laner even further ahead at this point in time. Allegiance looking very strong, delaying the red buff, stripping away 2 of the later buffs after the respawns.
And you know, this is particularly rough for Aware because of the way that these teams are composed. Team Allegiance is not supposed to be the team with the early game dominance. They've got a Nemesis and they've got a Zeus. These are characters that we'll see in 15 minutes, right? Aware, they're the ones with the Habwa and the Fenrir. Now, Habwa's not an early game character, but Fenrir does a lot of damage. You bring him over, and Habwa just sort of ultimates on them with whatever button he wants to press. That's how it's supposed to work out. And Aware's supposed to really leverage this early to mid-game prowess, but Allegiance are the ones with the lead.
And this is why the result of the whole red buff staggered spawn coming out of Allegiance, stopping Aware from getting it, disrupted the whole flow from KhaoticPurpose with Boronic, that combination like we mentioned at the beginning of the game, is just so powerful together, but it's been Allegiance controlling that pace.
And what's so interesting here, Toli, is it's not the fact that Aware got invaded a little bit, right? Like, that isn't the issue. It's the fact that Aware didn't adapt and react to getting that red buff taken away or being delayed. Aware, there were a couple of other things they could have done, right? They could have gone elsewhere. They could have looked for a buff. They could have went right to lane and figured out how to get harpies, etc. But instead, they kind of looked at the red buff. They waited. They got baited. And because they didn't react to what Allegiance did, that's what I'm really just trying to drive the point home, is that your game isn't over when you get invaded. Your game is over when you don't adjust because you've been invaded.
It's very difficult, though, to find that adjustment, but nice little double taunt in the mid lane from Matt Koiz, but
Where's
being
he
able
going?
to take him into the Ragnarok under the tower. Kenshin's going to get taken out.
Matt Koiz is very low. He's going to get jumped on, and KhaoticPurpose clears him up. Kill going the way of Aware Gaming off of their carry, and it's going to be 2-1.
The Detonate doing a little bit of damage as well, not really having the sustain for the members of Aware. So now as a result, though, Allegiance looking for anything extra that they can get off of that 1-for-1 trade. Looking like the red buff not available to be taken, but they did drop a ward over around the Gold Fury side, and this is something that Allegiance can really start opening up with these advantages, looking for the Wraths.
Transonics, some rare missed combos there. Misses the stun, misses the one, misses the hail of arrows as well. Things not going Trans's way so far.
Well, you miss 100% of the opportunities you don't take.
That is the most jumbled quote I've ever. That was rough.
Exactly. It was rough for Transonics, but he has to go for it because he has the Transcendence. He has to be able to spam those abilities. He has the mana pool. He has the MP5. You have to just be looking for the poke any way you can get it, especially when all the action is in the mid lane anyway, that you can freely box away against CaMeRxN. And between Transonics and CaMeRxN, these guys want to box each other.
Yeah, and you know, something that does come to mind actually is right before the game, you know, Allegiance, they had some issues. Transonics had something in his eye that was bothering him. I'm not sure if he got that cleared up or not. So that could certainly be, you know, at the very least, even if it was cleared up, that's got to be a little bit uncomfortable, and he's got to be thinking about it. So certainly something on the plate. Allegiance here, looking for a little bit of the buff steal. Wolves is going to corral the enemy solo laner back to his lane, and Team Allegiance don't want to go too hard, so Wolves does what he can, and everybody going to be left alone.
But now it's CaMeRxN, though, that's going to be in a fine situation. I thought he was going to be in trouble, but the Disapray was already active, transitioning into the mid lane, but as a result, he's exposed his boards, and Transonics is able to pick that one. That's going to be 100 gold lead now for Transonics, but he only found one so far, not able to take away the second one, but still doing a good job zoning away CaMeRxN from that wave. We see that one level experience gap for Transonics.
And the Gold Fury is going to be started by his team as well. And just as quickly, gets taken down.
Just like that, Allegiance just not really respecting at this point. He's wanting to try to find these objectives because of the wards that they have. They saw the heavy rotation on the right-hand side from Allegiance.
And just very quickly, wow, 7 minutes in, and Team Allegiance are able to very quickly take a commanding lead at the moment, 2,700. And, you know, I think it's very important for me to highlight that Aware is a strong team. You know, last match we got to see Excel, and, well, they're not a strong team. So their matches are a little bit one-sided. But Aware, I mean, this is a team that can do it. Allegiance are just that looking really hot.
Allegiance is definitely one of those strong contenders that give Aware a true run for their money. We've seen Aware being successful when they're ahead from the beginning of the game. Now they're going to be put to the test. It's like, how well can they really play and adapt from being from behind? Because Allegiance, they're not very easy to take advantage of as well. They're always looking for the early game plays whenever they can get them. And now transitioning into this mid phase of the game, Wolves is going to start making the rotations as well.
Exactly. For Team Allegiance, you're kind of guaranteed late game dominance out of Transonics and Wolves. Very rarely, and you know, a very specific set of circumstances has to come out for those two players to really drop the ball. They're consistently great. So Allegiance's whole game plan is to try to get the early and mid game rolling as well. And unfortunately for the opposition, if Allegiance get all pistons rolling at the right time, they become a very hard team to deal with.
Look what Allegiance is doing here. They're not even clearing the mid wave. They want to be able to get off any poke that they can do and deny the the experience, the chain lightning detonate, doing a little bit of poke, but because of the Sylvanus sustain from Kenshin, it's going to be negated, and that's going to allow Aware to maybe come back into this one. Just wait for those cooldowns to be used on Clow, and then counter engage, because Cloud's using all three of his abilities, whereas Kenshin's only using one.
Exactly, and the zoning is helping out specifically against the jungler as well. Over 1,000 gold lead just on the jungler. xCynosurex sitting up there taunting for good reason, and despite the fact that Fenrir is 1-0-0, he's trailing by about a level and a half down beneath xCynosurex, so things just not going Aware's way.
The thing about Fenrir, though, is he could still play from behind despite being one level behind. He could wait for that right opportunity to Ragnarok, but xCynosurex gonna wait to find this opportunity in the solo lane, gonna be ulting, not even being able to get off his own ultimate as DoctorL as he takes a spill.
And Wolves gets credit for the kill. Left side, Transonics taking one of the one-on-one fights with the Soul, not willing to really commit too hard as Cameron. You want to talk about players feeling comfortable and confident. Transonics said to me, he's like, look, I'm going to solo every player. And then, you know, I catch him in the hallways before their games and stuff. I'm always just like, hey, good luck to all the players I pass. He goes, I don't need it. I'm playing against Cameron. I'm gonna solo him. Just like real quiet and understated like that. It's really funny to see Transonics come out and play.
Well, it's definitely a good solo god to be looking for these 1v1 skirmishes on the Ullr, but have to be landing more of these abilities consistently if he wants to find the kill. But either way, he's doing a good job of just outboxing him at this point. We see the Doomworm though on the side. Oh, nice little stun though, forcing out the purification and the ultimate.
Unfortunately, the shot's gonna miss out of the bladed arrow. Hell of Arrow finds the mark, jump on top. Followed up as Matt Koiz. Taunt into the damage. Cameron takes out Transonics. He gets turned around on. Matt Koiz, the only one here, going to get picked up in the dogmouth. Still looking for the kill on Cameron. Can he get redemption? Absolutely not. KhaoticPurpose taunts his face off. Well deserved.
And this could be the turnaround play for Aware to get back into this one. Just shutting down the momentum of the dual lane from Allegiance. And now as a result, though, Gold Fury hasn't come back up yet, so they can't really get anything off of it offensively, but it's going to be a gank into the solo lane. DoctorL a little bit exposed.
Just a little bit. Clow's here as well and just takes him out easily. 4th kill in total for Team Allegiance. You can commit that hard on the right side because, like you said, Tully, there's no Gold Fury.
Absolutely. You have to be looking for these plays on the solo lane whenever you can find them, especially before the physical defense comes online, all the health comes online from these tanky warriors. And finding kills onto an Erlang Shen before he gets off the heal from his ultimate is so important and crucial. It's a 4-second window. That's plenty of time for this Nemesis Zeus to get off any sort of damage that they really need to get off.
Yeah, I mean, Nemesis Zeus, that's some of the biggest bursts in the game right there, right? So being able to have that at your disposal is certainly a very high impact play. Having a Habwa at your disposal is also relatively high impact, but we haven't really seen Boronic really do much of anything. When does Habwa really hit his stride?
After the 3rd item, once he gets about level 14 or so, he's going to start maxing out both his water cannon and that water spout. He has 3 points in his ultimate at that point in time. That's when the damage really gets there, especially considering the fact that he didn't go for this glass cannon build with the Shoes of the Magi Doomworm start that a lot of Habwa players really like to do. He opted to try to survive against any gank that potentially the Nemesis would be able to really dish out on him.
Which is interesting because Habwa is a character that has, I mean, water spout is actually one of the stronger knockups. It's ranged, it's relatively quick to execute. It's actually relatively strong. And the carpet as well. But at the end of the day, Habwa just deals damage.
That's what his role is required for him to do. But at the same time, when he uses that ultimate, he could potentially overexpose himself in the wrong position. So having that physical defense still makes a little bit of sense if he's trying to retreat back into his backline after using that ultimate, getting sustained from Kenshin on the Sylvanus.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be the game plan for Habwa. And for what it's worth, he also has to get up in almost melee range to deal damage. So Transonics again looking for the one-on-one. Cameron gonna fall back into the wave, gets hit with the bladed arrow, not the hail, however. Transonics still looking for the fight, transforms into Axe. baiting the jump.
Mind games. I like
Waiting
these
for
mind
it.
games between CaMeRxN and Transonics, just being able to bait out these abilities, not connecting on the axe stunts, forcing out the ultimate, however,
how-
having to retreat back onto the Gold Fury.
So that right there, that axe throw, that was not necessarily, if it hits, awesome, I'll follow up with some damage, but that axe wasn't necessarily meant to land. That Transonics just looking to bait out some abilities, actually gets the ultimate. 100% as played by Trans right there.
And now this also forces out the rotation from Kenshin just to top off CaMeRxN to survive this little skirmish exchange any longer, because we see the lifesteal from Transonics on that Aussie, as well as having a little bit of lifesteal being in that axe stance passive form, but now not connecting on the axe, having to retreat under his tier 1 tower yet again.
Yeah, he's forced underneath it. However, forced is an interesting word. I think Transonics still ready to go and wants to fight. A little bit of damage onto the wave, but again, still certainly thinking about CaMeRxN.
Yeah, there's a lot of damage between these hunters, but not enough damage on this Hobwall. Looking at the player damage, it's only 519 on this Hobwall. He's just not been put in a position to really do anything because of KhaoticPurpose kind of focusing a little bit on that dual lane earlier on, and then early aggression from Allegiance. There hasn't been a response really from Boronic.
Yeah, it's really what I was looking for and asking about earlier. XCynosurex going to drop the ultimate on the support. And Kenshin should generally be fine, despite getting 2 ultimates. Both the Nemesis and the Clow ult falls down.
This could be a point in time where Aware could be looking to flex onto Allegiance, maybe looking for an aggressive play off of those 2 ultimates being on cooldown now, but instead they're just kind of letting Allegiance anything that they really want to do. It's Wolves that's kind of pressing up on the mid lane, being able to just walk by 3 people very casually into the solo lane jungle.
Yeah, this is almost objectively the wrong call, I would say. Aware when with Clow having the ultimate down, and you know what, I'll back off. That was a little bit harsh. I won't say objectively, but with Clow's ultimate down, the Gold Fury is inviting you to come hang out. You know, the Wrath is available on the solo lane and the support, so you got to be aware of that. But Aware Gaming, I think there's a window of opportunity here that they could try to at least go for the Gold Fury, maybe take the fight. They're down 5,000, 4,000 gold. This is a situation I like to see Aware fight, but like I said, I'll back off a little bit. I think there's a couple of other options that we could see Aware go.
It's not even necessarily always about the Gold Fury either. They could just push down the mid lane if they really wanted to. They have Sylvanus sustain to continue the pressure, but now Kenshin is going to be the focus. He didn't get off his ulti in time. The Nemesis ultimate just shredding his protections completely.
Yeah, the full collapse coming out. Shouts to Thursday, and right now Aware, they're going to filter in towards the Gold Fury. It's a 5-on-4, however, with Kenshin down. A lot of the initiation power of Aware is not going to be available.
No, and that's going to be another 5-on-4 play for Allegiance. We see Wolves basically baiting out KhaoticPurpose in the mid lane. A nice little dash on onto DoctorL. Not enough damage though, but the Fearless is putting him in a bad and awkward position.
And just players surrounding and making it happen. Clow gets the last hit right there. Just looking so strong on this Zeus. We're going to see Allegiance start the Gold Fury. Does Aware want to fight it? That's the question. Let's ride along with Allegiance while they take out the gold.
We have all... It's a 2K. It's hoggable. Move on. Back out. We back out. No, we lose it. Back up. There's no reason to fight after an objective. No reason to fight after objectives. It's okay. There's no reason to. What do we get off that? Nothing. No, that was shitty. Yeah. It's okay. Cure buffs. Go. I fucked up. Defend mid. It's fine, Cloud. It's fine. We got gold and we're like fucking 5K ahead or something. I can't remember. They're gonna get in the tower. Can we get left or no? No, get up. Yeah. Get left. Better he ball down. Can we get better? You can kill mid. Yeah. You can kill mid. Soul's heading over. Don't give it you. Debo beats, I think. Fenrir beats. Soul 3? Nice poke. Nice play. Oh, you guys force mid? Yeah, we can do it. I think so. Yeah, force mid. Sylvanus to the low. Nice fucking job, Wolves. Let's go. Force mid. I can taunt him again. Do you want me to? Yeah. Give him a tower. I'm gonna taunt him. If you taunt him, he's dead. No. Actually, just get tower. Focus tower. Focus tower. Get tower. Get out. Their red might be up. I think check it. Evil's on it, I think. Yeah, Soul did it. I'm gonna back for Solve. I'm like literally unkillable right now.
You know, right there, we heard the players on the desk saying that XCynosurex was the player to come and join this squad right after Adjust. And the biggest thing that the players said was, listen, you know, Adjust was really silent. Well, So is Trans, so is Wolves. It's not really going to work out. XCynosurex is clearly the most vocal player there, and I think sometimes comms can be deceiving. Oh, he's talking a lot. It must be good. But I love that XCynosurex is pointing out the right things. Look, that was clearly a mistake. You don't get anything off of fighting after an objective. Camera with the slick Zapman's Aegis gonna exist a second later, but you don't get anything off of fighting after an objective, no big deal. Clow says, yeah, I messed up. XCynosurex is like, fine, don't do it again. It's not a big deal. And just hearing him talk through the engagement, I think really helps out Allegiance.
Oh, that ultimate from Boronic in no man's land, but he did put himself in a position to find Clow, not having an escape on that Zeus, and that's going to be his second death already. Not a great positioning there for Clow yet again. And that's something that Aware could potentially lean on a little bit further, abusing the fact that Clow, he's not that mobile. He does have Wing Blade, so that's going to be good to be able to get away from potentially any slows coming on, but just overall not having that natural escape is an easy target for Aware.
Yeah, right now Boronic, this is where he's going to start to come into relevancy. Like you said, 3 items. He's got the helmet, he's got the boots, and he's building Book of Thoth, which is apparently how you pronounce that.
Thoth?
I've heard
actually from the design meaning there's like 6 different ways to actually pronounce it. There's no real meaning behind it, so you can actually say whatever you want.
Okay, good. Because Lore Lady said Thoth, and it triggered me so hard. I was sitting there like, man, I got to start saying Thoth now. I don't know if I could do that. So if the dev said I could say Thoth, I'm good.
Yeah.
All right,
I say Thoth.
In that case, Book of Thoth's going to work out for the Hobwob. Right now, Transonics, he jumps right away from the Wolf. He's going to get followed up with Brutalize. Help from Matt Koiz. But Cameron finds the last shot, 7-6. Aware Gaming catching up. Matt Koiz in trouble, finds a dash away. There's the sprint. Aware Gaming all aboard, looking for the shot. Matt Koiz going to die. Cameron gets another one. It's 4-1-1. There's the info you got. Cameron killing it.
But unfortunately, there's no goal here to take after these 2 important kills. They have to be going for these towers. Now, on the left-hand side, it's less than half health, so that's going to be an easy target, especially with Soul having that 100% heat, being able to really melt through these towers. But you have to worry about your own towers because Wolves is on the right-hand side.
XCynosurex by himself. Nice Sanctuary to get rid of the majority of the brutalized damage. Slice and Dice turned around, and that's going to be enough to chase DoctorL out of the picture. Wolf shows up and looking for a hot Fearless. Going to be chased away, but not too big of a concern. He's gotten more speed buffs than the enemy jungler, I'm pretty sure. So almost going to look here for the blue.
Also almost getting that tier 2 tower on the right-hand side, just denying a lot of golden experience onto DoctorL. Level 16 on this Erlang Shen, whereas Wolves has been level 20 for, I think, like the past minute or so. So he's been doing a good job prioritizing and maximizing his farm, just being able to, get the early game elementals on cooldown, getting some of those right side mid harpies, just always being a bully in the right positioning whenever he needs to.
Yeah, Wolves has been a really fun player to watch, not just this game, but also this weekend. 7-7, like we're having a drink here, 21 minutes in. Aware Gaming, they're trailing down by about 6,000 gold. Allegiance has had the lead pretty much every step of the way, but as we come more and more into the mid-game, this is what happens more and more. Transonics with the aggressive positioning just gets caught out and ganked again. Gonna jump away. Actually, might be safe this time around, believe it or not. But Aware, that's what they've been able to do. They've been able to look at these lanes a little bit more efficiently in this mid-game, and that's what's brought them back into the conversation.
Transonics definitely has a lot of confidence to be going past the midway point in the duel lane at this point in time without any wards, especially against a Fenrir that does just a lot of damage with his abilities. Now finishing off that Void Shield, having the Height of the Urchins to survive any burst coming out of Transonics. So either way though, Wolves was taking advantage of that by getting that tier 2 tower on the right-hand side, and now Allegiance are starting to gold.
And this is just timing coming out from Allegiance. Gold's Fury down to about 14, and the Hog's gonna help him out, the Wrath, excuse me. The Gold of Fury goes down. Allegiance are getting their good fights in better timing periods. Right here, they're gonna chase out, but again, nothing to really gain. Allegiance are fighting when the Gold Fury's up, and because they're winning those fights at the right times, they're able to get the objectives. Aware are winning fights, and there's nowhere to go.
No, not at all. And as a result, they're down 8,000 gold at the 23-minute mark. Allegiance are really controlling this game very dominantly right now.
And that is the best way we can illustrate it. Kills are absolutely tied, 7-7. And Aware has actually had some kills that have been flashier than Allegiance is. They've capitalized better off of people standing out of position, but Allegiance have just been more opportunistic with the timing of those fights, and that's the difference. 9,000 gold. You've got the same amount of kills. Where is that 9K coming from? It's from the objectives and, you know, as I say, the stuff after the stuff.
That's right. The towers are down. The gold fears are in Allegiance's favor. So now they've just been grouping up as a result. Wolves, no more tower to take on the right. What does he do? Move on over to the left. Start being that demo man for Allegiance, just shredding tower after tower. Now, this is getting the point in time where team fights are going to start breaking out. And at this point with Tier, the Fearless, you always have to be very mindful about your positioning, especially with all this cooldown reduction, having the Breastplate of Valor, having the Genji's Guard, and also he's going to be very resilient, having a large health pool with this Winged Blade, and if he finds any sort of kills or assists, that Mail of Renewal is going to just top him off even further.
And as we know Wolves and how he works out, he's certainly going to find these kills and assists. The Mail of Renewal is an item that Wolves has been building for a while now on virtually every single god. He knows that his job is to go ahead and zone and be on the outskirts of these team fights, and a lot of times he's playing a rather aggressive character, so he's able to not only go on the outskirts and tank and be sort of self-sufficient, but he can also find a kill as he's trying to reposition.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Because Kenshin on this Sylvanus is very easy target. He has no purification, he has the sprint and the blink, and with the Nemesis Zeus damage onto this Sylvanus, that's going to be an easy target for Allegiance in general to find that first initial kill, and any sort of damage that Wolves takes initially that doesn't get topped off. Oh, nice little Sanctuary. He actually saved his own life there.
Yeah,
Wow,
that might have been lethal damage from Clow, but nice little save there coming out from our mid lane players here. Clow looking for the full flank around the back end. There's the ultimate out of CynoSure. Over the top comes Wolves. Hits Kenshin with the blade. And still looking for more. Kenshin underneath the table. There, he gets tossed into the wall. Transonics picks up Cameron. Wolves looking for another, but it's taken away by Matt Koiz. 2 down on the side of Aware. And Team Elite is going to look towards the Tier 2 tower. 1,500 in the pocket.
And that's going to be already the second Tier 2 tower gone. Mid lane, they're still focused. They want more than this Tier 2 tower. They're going to think about the Phoenix as another wave is getting a little bit closer, and now Wolves is going to be leading the charge right now. It's 3 members trying to hold on against 5 from Allegiance.
Ooh, the whiff. Not going to find the Fearless there on Boronic, who's waiting there on the Habwa, who has had next to no impact. Still looking for a little bit of damage. And the Phoenix goes down. Those situations is where Boronic is supposed to shine.
Yes.
Habwa in the laning phase is a little bit rough because his damage is close quarters, and you know, even defending a tower can be rough. But the reason that we see teams, and you'll see this all the time, and you might ask yourself why, teams routinely give up Tier 2s and then defend under the Phoenix because the area of the fighting area is a little bit easier to fight under. The quarters are a little bit closer.
And this is what allows Boronic on the Habwa to really shine. One good water spout into the ultimate could potentially find an easy double, maybe even triple kill off of those 2 abilities alone. Getting at this point, hitting level 18, a lot of damage online after getting the Obsidian Shard, so always have to respect his damage, but unfortunately it just hasn't been quite there. He hasn't found that right opportunity. Still, though, he hasn't put himself in a position to be killed, but he's not really doing his job if he's not getting the kills either.
Exactly. 0-0-4, sure, nice. It's all well and good, but you're picking the Habwa to have that powerful impact, to have that. Habwa is a character that what you're looking for in a team fight is you automatically delete somebody. Now, you might get deleted after the fact, but you auto-delete the player. That's really your job there, and like you said, Boronic, I think there's something to be said about playing safe, but there is such a thing as too safe.
But now it's going to be a KhaoticPurpose trying to find safety into his own tower that doesn't even exist any longer, forcing out the Sanctuary, but now with the ultimate from Athena, they're looking for the kill, but they might have overstepped their boundaries.
Yeah, CynoSure goes really deep with Matt Koiz in tow, but it's all just a bait. Team Allegiance on the left side get done what they want. And the left Phoenix goes down. Mid Phoenix is already down. Right side is finally going to get some attention.
And that's going to be the 3rd Phoenix aggressed on by Allegiance. They found the first 2 very easily by the Kenshin. He has to find the right disruption, getting off the ultimate, but Wolves is doing a good job zoning in the backline. Transonics getting knocked up, forced into the Sanctuary.
And the Fearless is going to catch 2. Cloud's able to get 1. Kenshin can't escape. Players on Allegiance now filtering into the base. Everybody going to be in some trouble. Matt Koiz leading the charge. Nice knock up. Cloud's taken down all the way to 0. That's the power of Habwa, but that's the power of Wolves. Answers right on on back. Cloud's the only one down. Add Matt Koiz to that. Wolves has 2 in his pocket. There's a third. Triple kill for your solo laner. And the Titan's gonna fall. 13-9, just underneath a half hour of play. Allegiance are need to seal this deal. Transonics hit the kill, and that'll be that.
And that's going to be the first game going in the way of Allegiance, looking so strong and dominant. Now, the fact of the matter was that there weren't that many kills in their lead in the earlier stages of the game, as it was 7-7, like you said earlier on. But they found the objectives, the stuff after the stuff.
Absolutely. This was a team that understood when to fight and why. And you can hear xCynosurex right there. That clip is what Aware has to go listen to, and players have to hold a little bit closer. Why are you fighting? Don't fight after the objective. There's no reason to fight after the objective. You want to fight before, during, never after. Because what happens, you show up, everybody's dead, and nobody cares because there's nothing to do.
And that just goes to show how coordinated and synergized they are on the members of Allegiance.
Yeah.
They have the energy definitely from Cloud. He wants to go in. He wants to get off his Zeus damage, but then you have to have the backline be able to over-evaluate all the situation just to peel back the over-aggressive members.
Absolutely. So as we look towards game number 2, there's a couple of distinct things that I think Aware need to work on. Let's see what the guys on the desk have to say about that.
Before we get into the game, we do have one more thing to remind you guys. Everyone here is playing to go to Hi-Rez Expo, and if you can't make it, but still want to support yourself or support the tournament as well as kind of get a lot of cool things, we do have the digital loot pack on sale right now, 1,500 gems, and it's just a plethora of skins and items. SWC Amaterasu actually looks really sick.
Oh yeah, it's really sick. So as well as the SWC Apollo this year, the convention Kepri is looking dope. And have you heard about this Chibi Hades? It's pretty dope.
It's probably one of my favorite skins we've ever
it's
done.
phenomenal.
But we do have a game that just happened in Allegiance. We talked about how good this game was, that these two teams have, gone back and forth. And Allegiance ends up closing it out, but I almost feel that they tried too hard to win that, and there were some instances where it got a little bit risky.
Yeah, Trans definitely got baited a little bit from his need to solo Cameron. His positioning was a little bit off. Somehow Clow at one point got away with going in 1v3 and getting poke off, and no one from Aware really did anything about it.
Yeah, you could tell he just kept wanting to go in. He was at tower line 50% of that entire game. So, I mean, you could tell they wanted to just keep fighting. I actually tweeted out, leave the boys in duo alone. Just don't even go over there. They need to be soloing each other. Yeah. Once Matt ulted Trans and they both died, I knew it was gonna be more even of a game, but I knew Trans could deal with Cameron.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like Cameron got the better end of Trans there.
I think
but
he
it
did.
felt more like Trans was not playing to his normal standard. I think he got into his own head about that 1v1.
Oh, for sure. That was not the typical Trans that we see. He definitely wanted that 1v1 badly. Like you mentioned, he was at the tower line the entire game. So in some instances, I mean, he was the one with the pressure, but it was Cameron who got the de facto solo kill in lane.
Going on to the actual outside of the duo lane, a lot of it was dictated by xCynosurex. It wasn't Allegiance full-on brawling. It was pick after pick after pick, utilizing that Nemesis ult, and it wasn't even just onto, hey, let's farm the Sylvanus. It was everyone. Everyone was targeted by Cyno.
Whenever xCynosurex, I mean, Jelly mentioned it, you used to be able to ban him out, and one of the gods you needed to ban was Nemesis.
Yeah.
Yeah, his Nem is nuts, but for me,